He's getting older.
Champagne room.
Oh, hit the volume button.
But not wiser.
King of the world, baby, king of the world.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here. Hope to put on a great show for you today, the 8th of July, in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show, episode number 51. I actually fucked up the order and the naming of the episodes yesterday. Yesterday was episode 50 of The Lefty Show. Today, episode 51. We've survived 50 episodes. It's been a lot of fun putting on this show 4 or 5 times a week for you guys. Once in a while. I think 1 week I actually did 6, and that was just not a pain, but just wow. That was a lot of podcasting, but it's been a lot of fun to put on the show for you guys for 51 episodes. I didn't get to do this in episode number 50 because I thought that I had originally screwed up in my naming of the files, and I thought, oh well, this is episode number 49 because the last one I have is number 48 in uploaded to YouTube. But what I failed to realize is that I completely missed episode number 49 being uploaded because YouTube, for some reason, isn't showing the thumbnail. So I just looked for red because I really have no other thumbnails that are red. And I'm like, oh, I know what the Lefty Show thumbnail looks like. The last one I see is 48. All right, this is number 49. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I've got episode 49 already saved as a project in Adobe Premiere. Son of a bitch. And so I had to decide whether to call it 49 or 50. And in the show, I had already referenced 49. And I missed out on being able to talk about episode 50. This, I think, is a bigger milestone, episode number 50, than, well, that was a bigger milestone. God, I'm so dumb. That was a bigger milestone than, say episode 10 or 20 or anything like that. A podcast like this making it to episode 50 reasonably is I think, pretty cool. And I thank you all for helping me. Do that. Just like I thank everybody for watching the show on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody for liking, favoriting, subscribing there, where you can find the Lefty Show and gaming content as well as vlogging content. And I thank you all for sharing the show with a friend or family or coworker, family member or coworker, which is easier to do now because we have an RSS feed. Go to leftyshow.podbean.com. That's leftyshow.podbean.com, and you can subscribe to the RSS feed there. Get the show even before it makes it to YouTube. That's leftyshow.podbean.com, or go to your favorite podcasting app and search The Lefty Show, or you can go to iTunes, go to the iTunes store, and also search The Lefty Show, and you can subscribe to us there, and be sure to leave a rating on the feed on the iTunes store. Thank you to everybody that has been doing that and leaving awesome comments. The Lefty Show everywhere on your podcasting apps, Android, iTunes, and leftyshow.podbean.com. And thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. And you can follow me on Twitter at Lefty643. Stay up to date on all the latest and greatest Lefty Show news and musings and all the things in between shows. That's at Lefty643 or just Twitter.com/Lefty643. So pretty much promptly after forgetting to talk about having a 50 episode podcast, I was out and about yesterday and I witnessed an almost car crash. It wasn't, I've witnessed car crashes before, actually a serious one where a van was the back end was tossed, 8 feet into the air. It was pretty serious. But I witnessed an almost car crash. I was going to get Katie from work, and I was at an intersection, and it occurred perpendicular to me. The traffic that was traveling perpendicular to my intended direction, and I was waiting for a light, stopped at a red light, and the cross traffic was going when I saw the light flick to yellow. And in from my right came a guy that was trying to turn left from the left turn lane, and from my left came a minivan. And it was that move where, on both sides, it was that move where the light is yellow, the light is about to turn red, and you expect yourself to be the last one through the intersection. You know you should probably stop. You know you should probably not try to make the light. You should probably just wait to turn left, and you should probably just wait to go through, but you're going to try to make it because you say, fuck it, I don't see anybody else. The left turn guy obviously didn't see somebody because there was an opposite left turn lane, and that's kind of hard to see past. And he figured, oh, well, I'm the only one going through. I'll be the last one through the intersection. I can make this light really easy. And they both made that assumption. They both made the assumption of, if I'm the last one going through this intersection, I'll be fine. They both made that assumption and went. And right in the middle, they were going, they both had to go from about probably 20, 25 miles an hour down to 0, and they almost met in the middle of the intersection, and they were both laying on their horns at each other. You know, it was burr, burr, burr. And I watched this whole ordeal, and are people that vain? And I wanted to ask, I hope they had gotten hit, because I would have pulled over and walked up to them and asked, are both of you that vain that you can't just go, fuck. I rolled the dice and I lost. You know, I spun the cylinder, slapped it back into the pistol housing, and I lost that bet. I put $50 on 23 black or whatever it is, and I lost. But they can't admit that they lost. They both have to lay on their horns as though it was the other guy's fault, and they're a total asshole because, well, I was turning left, and it was the end of the light, and the other person said, well, I was traveling through the intersection, I have the right of way, and blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't that, you get there's a few different levels of horn tooting. There's just the little, you tap it, just get a little bark from your horn, little, and that's to let somebody know in front of you, or to let somebody know that let somebody know in front of you if you think they've fallen asleep at a light, or to let somebody know that you're backing out of an alleyway. And yes, there are still alleyways in existence if you live in densely populated areas. And there's that. Then there's the where you lay on it a little bit longer because maybe you've given the alert warning horn once and then the guy didn't do anything, and so you do it again. I don't know, you're driving a diesel truck in my head. That's why it sounds like that. I don't have a good horn soundbite. I don't think I have it. I should get a few. I should record all the different horn sounds that I have in my head. And then you just lay on it. You lay on it because it's like, fuck you, let's go, hear my horn. And they both were the most egregious level of horn usage where they said they were communicating via car horn, fuck you, to one another. But what I saw from an outside perspective was both people gambling and both people losing. It was double dumb. It was also double Dutch. But it was an attack of the dumbs on both sides. An attack of, well, I see the light is yellow. Normally, I'm taught in high school or driving school that it's probably a good idea to at least take my foot off the accelerator and place my foot on the brake so that I can slow down. But nobody does that. If you want to make it through the light, when it turns yellow, you punch it. I do sometimes. Everybody does it. Same thing happened with the guy turning left. He saw yellow and he said, shit, I don't want to wait through another light. I'm going to punch it. And you both lost. But when you both get caught losing, and of course there's everybody that stopped at the light already watching you, it's like an ad hoc performance, like performance art. They both immediately go to blaming somebody else, blaming the other person. No, fuck, yeah, I lost. Yeah, I tried to make it and I didn't. But that was completely lost on these assholes. They were just trying to blame the other person for them losing their gamble. No, it was your fault. You know you should have just stopped and waited through another light. But you decided your time was so important that you could, how dare I be forced to wait? So fuck that, I'm going. And you lost. You lost. You should have left earlier. If you were in that much of a hurry, you should have left earlier. So you gambled and you lost, and now you're trying to blame the other person for you losing your stupid gamble. You're lucky you didn't get hit. Go away with that. You should say, oh, fuck. This could have been really bad. That would have been a serious front-end collision. Two people going in the almost exact opposite directions, opposing directions, and we were lucky enough to not collide. Go, that's a win. But no, giving people the finger, they were both giving each other the finger. It's just, what the fuck? Accept some blame. Accept blame for your fuck-ups. Accept it. It's not the other guy's fault that was trying to go through the light. It's not the other guy's fault who was trying to turn left. It was both your faults because you both gambled and you both lost. It's your fault for even gambling in the first place. That's like going into a casino and then blaming the dealer for having it out for you when you lose all your money. When you go in and then you go in and 4 hours later you got a 50,000 marker and it's almost all gone. That's like saying, oh, the dealer, if you bring out a car horn and go, and give him the finger and stuff. No, it's your fault. It's your fucking fault that you wandered into the casino and plopped your happy ass down at the blackjack table or baccarat. I want to play baccarat. Seems like a cool game. Bond always wins. Seems like the greatest game to me. Everybody says, no, blackjack, I'm going to count cards. I say, well, I didn't go to MIT. I'm going to go play baccarat because I see James Bond win that shit all the time, and it looks pretty simple. You went into the casino and you lost. Don't blame the casino. Blame you. You're the one that the casino didn't make you put down your money. The casino didn't make you go to the teller to give them money to get chips and then go play a game. They didn't make you do that. The light did not make these assholes try to beat it. It just said, it's just a light. It's like green, yellow, red. Green, yellow, red. That's all it does. That's its job. It's not trying to like, come on, you can do it. We all know the rules of the road. You gambled and you lost. Just accept it. Nobody can accept anything anymore. Everybody's looking for somebody else to blame. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never your fault. It's never your fault that you engaged in some act and now you're fucked up. It was somebody else's fault. So now I got to find somebody to sue. Now I gotta find somebody to sue here. I don't really know. You went in for a pretty serious surgery and you got fucked up by the anesthesiologist. Well, now if you can prove malpractice, that's one thing. But just to say, well, I went for the expensive, dangerous surgery and it didn't work. Sue you. What are you doing? Accept your losses. Accept the consequences of your actions, of your gambles. Oh, I was driving 95 miles an hour down the highway, and then a fucking something happened. Some guy was like, I turned a little bit, and then I caught an edge. My tire caught an edge, and then I tumbled, and oh my God, I got to find somebody to sue. I got to sue the guy that was doing 55 in the lane. I came up on a guy, I was doing 95. The guy was doing 50 in a lane, and I tried to swerve around him. My tire caught an edge, and I tumbled and totaled my car. I'm going to sue him because, what the fuck are you doing driving 95 miles an hour, dude? What are you doing? Nobody, I don't know what does it. There's a bunch of theories in my head. I've got a bunch of theories for a lot of stuff. But I don't know where this idea of it's always somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's fault that this is fucked up. It's somebody else's fault that this went wrong, that something that I did went wrong. No. Nobody made you do that. Who made you do that? Just a little accountability. Where is the accountability? I was listening to Adam Carolla's show, and he had two guys on representing, I believe, Autism Speaks or Turning Point Autism Foundation. And they were spewing out statistics on how pervasive autism is as a problem in our society. 1 in 68 children, 1 in 50 something boys technically diagnosed with autism in our country. And they were using it as a platform to talk about how awful autism is, how it's an epidemic in our society, and we need to do more. We can't. Why are people cutting funding for all this? It's so horrible, and we need more funding for autism research and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I thought, yeah, it is an epidemic, but the epidemic isn't autism. The epidemic is people looking for ways to explain that their child is a little bit of a slow learner, or is just lazy, or maybe they're fucked up parents, or explaining away bad teaching. I bet there's a lot of that in autism, because in 2012, there was an article published about, this was when autism was 1 in 88. This was in 2012. It was 1 in 88 people or children diagnosed with autism. And there was a CDC, a guy from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a doctor who stood up and said, well, you know, yes, it's entirely possible that we are seeing this rise in autism diagnoses because we continually expand the autism spectrum. And that was in 2012 when it was 1 in 88. Now it's 1 in 68 and everybody's freaking the fuck out. And I say, well, wait a minute. Where's the answer for that? Because that sounds like it might be a little bit of a something. Which is not to say that autism doesn't exist. Not to say that autism isn't a bad thing or isn't a tortured existence, or that we should research all these things and mental health. However, but if you're going to make a crazy statement like it's an epidemic in our society, I want to hear you talk about the guy who said, well, maybe we should stop expanding the autism spectrum and then see what the fuck happens. I want to hear what that guy has, or I want to hear you explain away that guy, because that sounds like rational skepticism to me, but I have yet to hear anybody say, well, you know, in 2012, there was the admission that we are continually expanding the autism spectrum, and that might explain the rise in autism diagnoses. But, that's bullshit because blah, 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 blah. It's like in America, there were the blood alcohol threshold for DUI used to be 0.1. That was the threshold. If you are above that, or if you're at or above that, you are technically drunk driving. When under heavy pressure from the, I believe it was the National Transportation and Safety Administration, or Board, the NTFSB, under heavy pressure, or maybe it was the National Highway something, under heavy pressure from the feds, when every single state adopted a 0.08, when they lowered the threshold from 0.10 to 0.08, there was, wait for it, a rise in DUI. And people say, well, why is this? Why are all of a sudden are there more people drunk driving? What the fuck would happen? What caused all these people to start drunk driving? And excuse me, I'm not a mathematician, okay? Not a statistician. I'm not any of that. I crapped out in Calculus 3. That's as far as I could get. Barely. By the hair on my chinny chin. Okay, so I don't profess to know all these things and regression analysis. I don't know, but it would appear to me that if you lower the threshold, if you lower the bar, there are going to be more cases. For whatever you're talking about, if you are talking about, all right, we want to classify incidences of this, or incidents of this, okay? This thing, whatever it is, and there's this threshold. There are people that do something like this, but if it lies on the other side of this threshold, or if it lies under this bar, we don't count it. It doesn't exist to us. It would appear to me, as simply as a layman, again, only got as far as Calculus 3, and again, I've forgotten most of it. It would appear to me that if you lower the bar, there's going to be more people included in the fucking incidents. There's gonna be more of them. What? Why is this? Oh my goodness. Oh, now there's more people drunk driving. Why would that be? Oh, well, because you lowered the fucking bar. Duh. Why is this? This isn't complicated math, people. You're overcomplicating things. You're looking to be so smart about something, and then all of a sudden you're blindsided by the fact that, oh shit, we just lowered the bar. Doop. And so similarly with autism, and again, I can't stress enough that autism is a mental health disorder, is a real mental health disorder. That is, without question, that's the case. And like many things with mental health, we should be researching it and finding out, if not cures, then at least treatments, at least something to allow people to go on about and live something approaching normal, whatever we even define normal as. This is not a case for revoking all autism funding. This is not a case for saying, oh, we don't need to, it's bullshit, just your kid's a piece of shit. Just no. I think that some people try to pay for a diagnosis of autism to cover up the fact that they're shitty parents, and there's no doubt in my mind that that's happened more than a few times, and if you deny it, well, then you're an idiot. Because of course, uppity white people or yuppie white people are going to say, oh, well, little Timmy, we left him with the nanny, and we just don't know why that he is not performing well in his schools. He's with the nanny all the time. I'm out horseback riding. Why is he not doing well with the nanny? There's got to be something else that explains this, and it's maybe he's got autism. He's just not responsive. And if you go to enough doctors and you've got a big enough checkbook, somebody will diagnose autism. What they should do is spend some more time with your kid, you fucking cunt. Maybe they should say that, but they don't, because, well, they're just signing checks. I'm a professional doctor that will diagnose you with whatever you want. If you Same thing with medical marijuana. All of a sudden, people have anxiety disorders. I guarantee you, all these states that are legalizing medical marijuana now, if you have a prescription for any number of diseases, disorders, anxiety attacks, anything, you can get yourself some medical ganj. And I guarantee you that if you violated everybody's HIPAA, if you violated the shit out of everybody's HIPAA rights and protections, you would find out that all of a sudden, holy fucking shit, 40% of Californians have anxiety attacks or anxiety disorders or panic disorders. Holy shit, oh my God, there's all these mental disorders that immediately popped up in well, not in Washington and Colorado, because you can just buy it if you want to get high now, but holy crap, in California and Massachusetts and whatever other states have legalized medical marijuana or are going to legalize medical marijuana, there's going to be a huge spike in incidents of some kind of disorder. When it's Crohn's, all of a sudden I've got Crohn's disease. How you fake that? I don't know. Johnny Drama tried to fake Legionnaire's disease and it didn't work. Even though that's an awful, awful thing to smoke anything. But, and how do you do that? I guarantee you that's the case. What explains that? Is it really that we all have anxiety and panic disorders? Or is it that if you do the medical version of venue shopping, you'll find a doc who will write you a script for, you pay him $500 and he'll write you a script for medical marijuana. And then you can go get high and it's all friggy-diggy legal. So similarly, there are no doubt in my mind, many, many, many parents, probably they tend to be well off, who will venue shop for a doc that will explain away their shitty parenting or bad teaching or lazy kids. It says, oh, well, I know your son runs around slapping other students and calling the teacher a cunt, Mrs. Johnson, but in my professional medical opinion, he's got autism. Oh, you mean he's not an asshole? No, Mrs. Johnson. He's just got autism. Oh, thank you, because so many other people have just said he's a fucking asshole. Yes, I know some people say that, but thankfully you came to me and I was able to properly diagnose your son as having autism. So you're really sure he's just not a complete and utter asshole child and maybe we should discipline him? No, Mrs. Johnson, actually discipline is the wrong thing to do for children with autism. You need to let him be free and make other people aware of his autism disorder so that they will change their ways to conform to your son, because your son is a special lotus flower. Oh, thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. I was worried. My husband said, asshole cocksucker that he is, ex-husband, really. My husband said that it's just because I'm taking the alimony to pay for horseback lessons and buying a nanny instead of, providing little Jimmy with a home and a loving family. He said it was just because I'm a bad parent and now our son is an asshole. But thank you for vindicating me, doctor. I appreciate it. He is not an asshole. That's right, Mrs. Johnson. That will be $6,000. There's no doubt in my mind that happens. None. And you can't deny it. No way you can deny that, because there are a lot of people that are getting medical marijuana for a lot of bullshit reasons. A lot of people that get medicine for bullshit reasons. Why should it not apply similarly to autism to protect the vanity of parents? So getting back to my original point, despite all that, this is not a case for fuck autism. This is not a case for let's pretend autism doesn't exist, because it does exist. There are those people that are legitimately autistic. My case is for the marginal, or is on the margins. The people that argue, oh my God, look, 2 years ago it was 1 in 88. Now it's 1 in 68. Oh my God, it's an epidemic. Protect the children. Oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Give us money, please. Give us all money for our executive expenses and all the stuff that our foundation has. Give us all the money. Oh my God, please. We need to protect the children. When in reality, what happened in 2013, when the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the 5th edition, or the DSM-5, was published, it redefined the autism spectrum to encompass the previous DSM-4 diagnoses of autism, Asperger's syndrome, pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified, childhood disintegrative disorder, and Rett syndrome. The autism spectrum got bigger. And all of a sudden, now there's more people that have autism. Previously, you'd be an Aspie, as they're called. Now, you've got autism. And oh my God, now there's more people with autism. What's going on? We need to do something. Yeah, how about we stop lowering the bar for autism? Maybe, and here's the thing. Maybe there's a very good reason for lowering the bar. I do not have the expertise to question that. But from a statistical standpoint, if we want to figure out if it really is a gigantic problem in our society, maybe we should hold that bar level for a decade. Just right here, below this, above this, meh. And that's all we do. That's all you get. Because we need to find a way to counteract bullshit diagnoses, because diagnosing a mental disorder is probably much harder than diagnosing cancer or a broken arm. It's easy to set the bar to see how the prevalence of broken arms in our society. It's very easy. Either it's broken or it's not. Never mind that there's, slight fractures and all that shit. Even then, it gets complicated. Now you want to talk about diagnosing and encompassing mental disorder? Oh my God. And you want to say it's an epidemic, but one, it's an all-encompassing mental disorder, which is incredibly hard to diagnose objectively outside of a narrow range of cases. If the kid is nonverbal, just completely nonverbal, well, something's fucked up. Something's wrong here. But if the kid is just not performing in school or not responding, well, hold on a sec now. It's really hard to diagnose that. And on top of that, you keep fucking changing the bar. You keep lowering the bar. The autism spectrum has done nothing but get larger. It is never, I don't think if If you have more knowledge than this on me, please speak up. But I guarantee you, if you plotted from DSM to DSM, they're only on 5, so you only have a few data points. But if you plotted it, if you did a visual representation of the autism spectrum from DSM to DSM, that spectrum has done nothing but get larger. Nothing. It hasn't contracted, and it for sure as shit hasn't stagnated. But instead of questioning that, instead of explaining that away, we just run around saying, oh my God, it's a pandemic. Oh, it's an epidemic. Oh my God, give us money. Money for research, money for treatment. Oh my God, please. Oh my God, please give us money, special schools, special treatment, special all the things, because autism everywhere. It's everywhere in our society now. I say, well, why is that? Is it really that we're all trending towards being autism or autistic? Or is it more that, well, we keep expanding the parameters in which people get diagnosed with it? It seems to me that if we just want to figure out if it's better or if it really is a problem, we should stop expanding the parameters for a while. We just need to hold it constant. Even if there are mental conditions that we could realistically define as autistic, we need to find out if these things are growing. We need to hold it constant because we need some way to say, yes, for sure it is, well, shit, vaccinations. It's not vaccinations. Please don't ever think that. Or it's pesticides in our food supply, or it's this or that, or it's sunlight, or it's breathing oxygen, or whatever we think it may be. We first of all need to counteract the argument of, excuse me, why are we continually changing and lowering the bar by way of expanding the bar? We're doing that, right? Right. How do you account for that in saying, oh my God, it went from 1 in 88 to 1 in 68? How do you account for that? Where's that accounting done in your math? Or where's that regression analysis? Show me I can't do the regression analysis, but I know you can find people smart enough to do it. Where's that regression analysis? Where is it done so to say, well, this does not matter because we've found correlations at such and such a level when other variables held constant, whatever the fuck. Where is that? I don't see it, but you get people on the radio or people on huge podcasts or on television pleading for money and scaring the shit out of people and invigorating those like Jenny McCarthy, idiots, into thinking, oh my God, I can't buy produce anymore because it's got pesticides and pesticides cause autism. Because did you know that we've continued to use pesticides, and in 2012, 1 in 88 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 68 children in America have autism, and we've continued to use pesticides. Pesticides very clearly cause autism, right? Oh my God. And you're invigorating idiots to run around and do stupid things and give you, and by the way, and I am sure in my heart of hearts that this is a non sequitur. I'm sure, but I would be remiss not to bring it up. And by the way, while you're inciting idiots to do idiotic things while not accounting for the idea that you are continually lowering the bar by expanding it, you're enticing them to give you a lot of money to your charity, which definitely has overhead and expenses. And, you know, when you go out to California for the big autism convention, you get an expense account, and, you pull a salary if you're on the board or if you're doing anything. So on top of all that, you're also enticing idiots to give you money for your charity, which is not a 100% efficient charity. Oh, okay. Maybe, just maybe that's why we don't talk a lot about how the autism spectrum has done nothing but get bigger. Maybe that's why. Maybe there's a lot of money in running an autism foundation. Just like there was a lot of money in Livestrong for Lance Armstrong. Maybe because there was a lot of money that Lance Armstrong garnered in spreading cancer awareness while also spreading Lance Armstrong awareness. There was a lot of money in it for him. There was a lot of money in the Second Mile Foundation for Jerry Sandusky, Joe Paterno, and Penn State. Sweetheart land deals, all this stuff. Bottled water company for Joe Paterno. There's a lot of stuff in running, a lot of money in running a charitable nonprofit. Oddly enough, there's lots of money in running a charitable nonprofit. Maybe, just maybe, that's why we haven't heard a lot about, autism is a problem. And I know some of you might think that, well, we've done nothing but expand the autism spectrum, so perhaps that explains the rise of autism cases. But this mathematician, this scientist, and this doctor all agree, given the math and given these parameters, that you don't have to worry about that because uber math stuff. We haven't heard that. Why? Probably because there's a lot of money in, one, because it's not there. There isn't such a thing because that explains it. And also because there's a lot of money in running charitable organizations, Turning Point Autism Foundation, Autism Speaks, all that stuff. Lots of money. Lots of money in selling fear. Hell, this show is dedicated around it. All right, let's do some news. We got a lot to talk about today. Death toll climbs to 15 in the over the holiday weekend in the south side of Chicago. More than 50 people shot, 15 of whom died. The ACLU is asking why West Springfield police have 2 grenade launchers. Conservatives are rolling coal in the greatest place in America, the southern United States. A dog dies in a car while a woman shops at Walmart for 13 hours. And much, much more to come during the news. It's the news with Lefty. Let's talk about all the news and things. So this story out of Crestview, Florida. But of course, this story comes from Florida. Dateline, Crestview, Florida. A woman was arrested after police say he left her dog Waldo. Where is he? Inside the hot car, dying. Inside her hot car while she shopped at Walmart for 13 hours last Thursday, according to WPEC. The deceased dog was discovered by another Walmart shopper. There was reportedly no food or water left for the dog, and even though a window was partially cracked, temperatures rose, which resulted in the dog's death. Police say Cassandra Rasmussen, 49, was inside of Walmart browsing for approximately 13 hours. The woman told police that she forgot the dog was inside of the vehicle. The dog's cause of death was heat exhaustion as a result of the high temperature in the vehicle. Rasmussen was charged with 1 count of misdemeanor cruelty towards animals. Now, as a dog lover, I am a dog lover. I'm browse r/aw. Get those cats out of there on r/aw, baby. It's all about the cute doggies. I'm all about it. As a dog lover, I hate to see this story. And, this isn't... I don't mean to compare this to the story in which the guy conveniently forgot his infant son in the car for 8 hours and the son died, because that was a human being and this is a dog. But I'm going to compare the two because how the fuck can you do this? There's a living, breathing thing. Human, dog, doesn't matter. A living, breathing thing that you have a connection to. You have some bond to. Your brain is complicated enough and your consciousness is complicated enough that you can feel some overreaching, non-sexual, non-reproductive bond to another species of animal or another non-reproductive version of a human, and you feel a bond towards them. The association with the baby is more evolutionary because, duh, we need to protect children because they're the future. But you can have a connection with a dog and to just forget about it. And you just, goodbye. Later, Waldo. I'll see you later. Yeah, it's 95 degrees out, but I need to really go to Walmart. I really need to go to Walmart. And I can't leave you at home or anything, so I'm going to leave you in this car. And despite the fact that I've read countless stories, in America, you are no longer allowed to get away with the cracked window theory. Okay? It's like the second shooter theory. You no longer can you mount that defense. Can you say, well, I cracked the window, because story after story in every news region in America during the summer, you will hear at least 15 stories about a dog dying, about a child dying, or about somebody getting arrested because the dog didn't die but was close to death because they were left in a hot car in the summer in a parking lot for 6, 7, 8 hours with a window cracked. They say, well, I cracked the window, and the experts say, well, no, that's not enough. You're no longer allowed to mount that defense. No longer. You don't get to claim ignorance of the fact that cracking a window in 95-degree heat in a fucking enclosed space is enough ventilation for any kind of breathing organic material. No longer can you do that. And it's sad to see this. And it's just a dog at the end of the day, but to realize that somebody is so I guess forgetful, cavalier about the well-being of something else with which they have a bond, whether it's a dog or another fucking human being, it's really sad because what the fuck are you doing? And also, what the fuck are you doing in Walmart for 13 hours? I've been to Walmart. And I'm not a Walmart shopper per se, but I go there if they might have something that I need, and if they're the only game in town. I don't go seeking out Walmart. Walmart isn't my go-to store, but I've been there. You can't spend 13 fucking hours in Walmart. You can't do it. Unless you're getting your tires rotated or brand new tires and then shopping on top of that, maybe you can spend 6 hours there. If they got a backlog, maybe, and that's too long. And even then, at hour 4, you're like, get me the fuck out of here. How the fuck do you go spend 13 hours in Walmart unless you're high? Unless you are high as a motherfucking kite, how do you spend 13 goddamn hours in Walmart? And never mind that, hold on. More so than that, this was the 13 hours ended abruptly when another shopper spotted the dead dog in this woman's car. Cassandra. And by the way, that's Cassandra spelled Cassaundra. Just so we know that it's Cassandra. This was, the 13 hours was cut short when another shopper noticed the dog and came in, and probably there was a thing, and then the woman heard about it over the PA system, and she came running and was subsequently arrested. She was willing to spend more than 13 fucking hours in Walmart. What are you doing? What are you doing in Walmart for 13 fucking hours? Honestly. Who throws a shoe? I want an itinerary of what you can do without the aid of performance enhancing drugs of any kind, be it marijuana, meth, anything. I want to know what you're doing for 13 fucking hours in Walmart. I want to know what you're doing, because holy fucking shit, that is an impressive marathon of Walmarting. She should be given a medal after she gets out of jail. Give her a medal for, you found 13 hours, you found something to do in Walmart for 13 hours and didn't fucking kill yourself. That's impressive. In other news, this is something from Yahoo Autos. Conservatives are purposely making their trucks spew black smoke to protest Obama and environmentalists. This is a Southern thing. This has got to be a Southern thing. It's got to be. It's got to be. It's got to be. It's got to be. Pickup trucks customized to spew black smoke into the air are quickly becoming the newest weapon in the culture wars. Coal rollers are diesel trucks modified with chimneys and equipment that can force extra fuel into the engine, causing dark black smoke to pour out of the chimney stacks. These modifications are not new, but as Slate's Dave Weigel pointed out on Thursday, rolling coal has begun to take on a political dimension, with pickup drivers increasingly viewing their smokestacks as a form of protest against environmentalists and Obama administration emissions regulations. Last month, Vocative noted many coal rollers focused their fumes on nature nuffies. Nature nuffies. or people who drive hybrids and rice burners or Japanese-made cars. Quote, the feeling around here is that everyone who drives a small car is a liberal, a roller named Ryan told Vocative. I rolled coal on a Prius once just because they were tailing me. Weigel spoke to a seller of coal rolling customization equipment who described why some drivers see spewing smoke as a political protest. Quote, I run into a lot of people that really don't like Obama at all, the salesperson said. If he's into the environment, if he's into this or that, we're not. I hear a lot of that. To get a single stack in my truck, that's my way of giving them the finger. You want clean air and a tiny carbon footprint? Well, screw you. Yeah, screw anybody that's like, hey, clean air, man. I like this. I like clean air. Screw those people. Fuck them. I don't like them. Get rid of them. Oh, God, no, I don't want to install NVIDIA updates right now. NVIDIA, please stop popping up on me. As coal rollers have become a form of conservative protest, their popularity seems to be exploding. Vocative found Facebook pages dedicated to the phenomenon have about 16,000 followers, and over 100,000 rolling coal posts have appeared on Instagram and Tumblr. According to Google Trends, there were virtually no internet searches for rolling coal prior to February 2011. Since then, search volume for the term has increased over 700%. With the explosion in online attention, the battles between coal rollers and their environmentalist enemies are playing out in social media pages, YouTube videos and internet comment sections. Many of the rolling coal Facebook pages feature memes, like the one pictured on the right, that mock hybrid drivers and liberals. Coal rollers have also posted videos showing their trucks blasting more environmentally efficient cars with smoke. Well, that's great. That's fantastic. When you're operating a motor vehicle, what I really want is some dumb fucking yokel redneck spewing black smoke onto my windshield. That's exactly what I want, because he's got a bone to pick with me because he thinks I'm a liberal. Man, that fucking liberal, praise be Dale. That liberal over there, man, he's driving that. What is he driving? What are you driving, liberal? He driving, what do you got, a Hyundai? What is that, some kind of Japanese car? What is that, some kind of rice burner? Liberal? Take my freedoms. I'm going to spew black smoke on that motherfucker. That'll show him. That'll show him and his liberal and his environmentalist ways. This has got to be a Southern thing. These are the same assholes that roll the stars and bars on their trucks and wonder why people are like, what the fuck, dude? No, it's just my freedoms. It's Southern pride. No, dude. It's fucking not. You backwards ass hick honky motherfucker. Take that shit off your car. Not that you shouldn't be allowed to do it, but you're a backwards ass honky tonk motherfucker. Oh, it's just Southern pride. No, it's the fucking Confederacy. The people that started a civil war. The War of Northern Aggression. Yeah, I know. The people that helped start a civil war because they wanted to treat black people like cattle. That's what that fucking is. I don't care that it was appropriated by Kid Rock, who's from fucking Detroit. Okay? He's from Detroit. You're a pariah. Kid Rock, your guy. Detroit. Which is, because I know Cletus, I'm sorry, praise be to Dale, I know because you don't know exactly where that is, in fucking Michigan. Way north of the Mason-Dixon line. And that's your guy, Southern Comfort every night. Stars and bars and all Southern pride. No, motherfucker. You want to know, why are people so upset? It's just Southern pride. No. Because it means a whole lot to other people. Oh, I don't get, freedom. It's my freedom. Yeah, it's your freedom. You're just a fucking asshole. Opponents of the practice have also taken to the internet. Weigel noted a mid-June surge of comments from progressives attacking coal-rolling social media pages in the wake of the Vocative article. In 2012, one outraged YouTuber posted a video entitled Victim of Coal Rolling that showed a pickup shooting fumes at his car. Blow your smoke at me, you son of a bitch, the driver says in the video. Well, it sounded like he wanted it. If whatever you want to do, you want to have smoke blown on you from a coal roller, go have fun. Though the clip seemed designed as a criticism of coal rollers, it attracted a slew of comments from people who were clearly on the side of the pickup driver. Well, now we're getting into YouTube comments, and YouTube comments are just fucking cancer. Look, Cletuses of the world. Jebs, too. Jebs, you can come in and listen to this, too. I understand that you're against the whole regulation of carbon footprint and you don't like many of Obama's environmental ideologies. and ideas. And I understand it. And some of them I'm with you right there. And if you want to drive a big honking truck that is fuel inefficient and stuff, and yeah, woohoo! All right, go for it, man. Yeah, I get it. I understand, but you don't need to fucking shoot black smoke at people that are trying to operate a 2,500-pound missile. That's stupidly dangerous. That is not protest anymore. That's not expression. You are making the lives of everybody near you on the road dangerous, because at any point you can spew black smoke onto the windshield of somebody that, just because it's a Prius and just because it's fuel efficient doesn't mean it's not 2,000 pounds or whatever these things fucking are. 4,000. Just because. Do you know how much 4,000 pounds weighs? My truck is 8. Yeah, I know, dude. Half of your truck, and now this person can't see because you got a bone to pick with some black guy in Washington, D.C. And because your pea brain thinks that, oh, man, he's driving a Prius, man, got to be liberal on the side of Obama. What if he won that car? What if that's the only thing in his price range? So what? What the fuck is it to you? Why do you have to hassle this guy? Why do you got to give this guy a hard time because he drives a fucking Prius? You don't like Obama's? He's not Barack Obama. Even if he's a black guy driving a Prius, probably not Barack Obama. And you're just going around fucking with people because you've got some big toting truck, and of course your number 3 sticker and your stars and bars and the picture of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, or is it Hobbes? No, Calvin's the kid. Calvin Hobbes pissing on a Ford symbol because, of course, you've got all that, and then you're just being stupidly dangerous. You espousing your just silly opposition to environmentalists and carbon footprint stuff should not make other people driving fucking automobiles any more dangerous. And also, Cletus, are you also I want to ask these people, because the way, as I understand it, it forces more diesel fuel into the engine, or at least adds it to the hot exhaust gas, and it's a very inefficient burning, which is why the smoke is black. Very, very, very inefficient burning of the fuel, and that uses more fuel. And I want to know how many of these people equally want to complain about the price of gas. Because, oh my God, gas prices are so high. Oh God, it cost me $120 to fill my tank, man. I got to go down to the rub and grub and go to the ATM or go to the check and go and get a fucking loan on my car so I can fill it up so I can drive it down to the county racetrack to go spew at some liberals, man, and fucking liberals taking my freedoms. And you complain about all that, right? What do you think your little coal rolling thing is? And why is it called coal rolling? Who the fuck calls it coal? Oh, it's coal rolling, man. It rhymes. They're both verbs. They're not both verbs, but is there coal? Are you using coal? Cletus, where's the coal at? Oh, no coal? Don't call it fucking coal rolling, you moron. Serious, Southern America is a crazy place. And south of the Mason-Dixon line, I got a rule about going to south of the Mason-Dixon line. Unless I'm going to Orlando, the Kennedy Space Center, or Miami, I'm not going south of the Mason-Dixon line. Not doing it. The Mason-Dixon line doesn't extend west, so I can go to L.A. I can make that trip work. But I don't go south of the Mason-Dixon line. Doesn't happen. And for those of you in Illinois, I don't go south of I-80. Not doing it. I hate going south of I-80 is like walking into the Wild West. You'll probably find some coal rollers south of I-80 in Illinois. And definitely south of the Mason-Dixon line. It's a crazy place, man. It's a place where a bunch of yokels can circle jerk into thinking that spewing inefficiently burned diesel exhaust onto the windshield of supposed really fuel-efficient cars owned by supposed alleged liberals is a really, really cool and awesome form of political expression. But then gas prices are too high, and oh my God, it costs so much. Well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't up and done that, Cletus. In other news, speaking of the Wild West, this is from MSN News. Over the holiday weekend, July 4th, the death toll climbs to 15 in Chicago. This is Dateline Chicago from the Associated Press. Chicago's 4th of July weekend death toll has climbed to 15 with the death of a man who was shot just before midnight Sunday. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office said 25-year-old William Allen was pronounced dead shortly before 2:30 p.m. on Monday afternoon. Police say Allen was shot Sunday night. Allen was one of more than 50 people shot over the long holiday weekend. The killings continued Monday with the slayings of 3 people, the first 2 early Monday and the third on Monday night on Chicago's South Side. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that the latest victim was a 19-year-old woman who was shot in the back by a gunman who rode up on a bicycle and opened fire. Now, there's a lot of talk about Chicago's gun violence. And it really is, if you go to certain parts of Chicago, it really is the Wild West. And as somebody who frequents Chicago and has spent a good amount of time there, it can be a very dangerous place. And these areas they're talking about, the Chicago's South Side, very dangerous places. And there's whole campaigns of people, what about dead children? You know, of course, right? And talking about all the killings and the idea that 15 people were dead over a 3-day weekend, more than 50 shot because, woohoo, Independence Day, bang, bang, bang. People use it a lot as a vehicle to talk about gun violence and gun control. Look at all the gun violence in Chicago's South Side and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And even though I'm not, strictly speaking, liberal, I take a liberal approach here, and I choose to argue, well, guns are the vehicle. I'm a big fan of that idea, that guns are the vehicle for some other problem. Guns can be a problem, sure. But the kind of gun problems that are the fault of guns probably look different than just people dying. They probably just look different than people being shot. When guns actually become the issue, the problems will probably look different on the order of all of a sudden now, or gun control, arms control, all of a sudden you've got incendiary rounds. All of a sudden, armor piercing, shit coated with Teflon. Learned that from Ronin. All these things, those problems are gun problems. But gun deaths are not, strictly speaking, or necessarily, rather, gun problems. I choose to think of gun deaths as the gun was a vehicle for some other problem. In the case of Elliot Rodger, guns were a vehicle for his psychosis. In the case of many school shootings, in Sandy Hook, the guns were a vehicle for that guy's overwrought mental disorders. In the case of the Boston bombings, the pressure cookers were a vehicle for religious extremism and a need to belong to something and being coerced into doing something and just circle jerked into believing something extremely crazy. The power of religious extremism. It's not a pressure cooker problem. It wasn't a gun problem in Sandy Hook. It's not a gun problem with Elliot Rodger. And in Chicago, I don't think it's a gun problem. It's a socioeconomic problem. Now, to dive deeper into socioeconomic problem, where is all these happening? On the South Side, right? That's all. Okay. Well, what's the distribution? I want to see. And this is a problem I have with the news media, because the news media is so scared of being called racist. All I want is a distribution of the ethnicities of shooters, of victims, of whatever. Any data you have, give it to me. Any data you have. No, don't editorialize it. Don't say this means that. And if you can hire somebody to interpret the data for you, please do. But give me the data. and let me see the distribution. But especially when you're talking about Chicago, especially when you're talking about gun violence on the south side of Chicago, you don't see a lot of distribution about ethnicity and race. You don't see that. You don't. Could it be, what's more likely, that it's an issue that people just don't want to talk about because they don't want to seem racist, or that it's a complete non-issue? How can it not be irrelevant data? How can it be completely irrelevant, the race and ethnicity of the shooters and victims? How can that possibly be irrelevant? If you're going to make the case that, oh, well, it's just an irrelevancy, you're just going off searching for a red herring if you want to know about race of the shooters and victims, explain to me how that's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Because Because it doesn't, why does it not matter? Because it doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? That's just going around in circles. I want somebody to explain to me, if you're going to make the case that that data is irrelevant, explain to me why it's irrelevant. Because to me, I think it's relevant. Because when we're talking about the south side of Chicago, I will say it for the news media, that's a very highly black area. A lot of black people there. A lot of economic issues, a lot of economic downturn. Section 8 housing, populated predominantly by black people. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of gun violence. There's not a lot of gun violence on the north side. Per capita, probably on the north side of Chicago, around Wrigley Field and Northbrook, not a lot of gun violence. Probably not a lot of gun violence in Evanston. Not a lot of gun violence in Evanston. Why? I don't know. But we see a lot of gun violence in the south side of Chicago. Well, what are the differences here? Let's honestly take a look and see. Well, it's a socioeconomic, and that's the go-to for liberals. And I say, well, if it's a socioeconomic issue, that's okay, but why? Why is it a socioeconomic issue? Why? Oh, it's because poor people. Oh, poor people. There's a lot of poor people in the South. I don't see a lot of per capita gun violence in the South. Not a lot of hick towns are showing up. Not a lot of crack. That's what we're going to... I'm copywriting this. I'm writing it down now. I'm writing it down right now. We will forever now refer to yokel hick towns as Cracker Barrels. Huh? Come on. That's fucking genius right there. Oh, my goodness, what an epiphany that was. I'm going to write comedy bits now. We are going to... I don't know. Pick a yokel town. Any town where there's a coal roller. All right, if there's a lot of coal rollers around the town, you're probably in a hick town. I'm calling that town the Cracker Barrel. Come on down to the Cracker Barrel and get your coal roller on. But why are we so afraid to even consider that there's not necessarily the color of the skin is the cause, but perhaps there is a culture that surrounds or envelops certain people. Certain groups of people, when they congregate together, there is a culture that surrounds that and applies to them, and they identify with a certain culture, and that culture leads to gun violence. That culture leads to drug running, gangbanging, or organized crime, or riots, or critical masses, or coal rolling. Anything. It doesn't even have to be negative. Anything. I guarantee you that if you break it down by race, and you will see, well, when a bunch of white people get together, not necessarily because the color of their skin, but when a bunch of white people get together and they happen to be well off, well, then this trends. Then this trends. Similarly, when you get a group of black people together and they are more than likely well off, then this trends. And when you mix it, why do we pretend that there aren't cultures that apply to different races in this society? There is. Rap music does not apply to me. It's not a part of my culture. I like rap music, but as a white person, there's not a lot of rap going on. Not a lot of gangster rap. That's meant for a different demographic. I just happen to like it for I enjoy the beats, and I like the cool way that a lot of rappers get to mix words together and flow, and I think that's really cool, and I think that to me is a really cool talent. But the message of gangster rap music or any kind of music is meant for a specific audience, whatever it is. Katy Perry is not meant for dudes. It's meant for teenage girls. Justin Bieber is not meant for 40-year-old Hispanic men. It's meant for teenage girls. We're okay with it along that lines, but when we talk about, oh, well, what kind of culture surrounds this race of people, or what kind of culture surrounds, we even talk about the South Side of Chicago. Nobody says, well, that's a predominantly black area. There's a lot of culture of violence in the South Side of Chicago. Oh, is that the South Side of Chicago's fault? Is the South Side of Chicago a thing? No. Let's be open and talk about it. Because when we pussyfoot around, my point is this, when we pussyfoot around because we're scared of ultra liberals blaming everything on racism, when we pussyfoot around, we miss out. We invariably increase our chances of missing out on a root cause. When you don't dig deep enough, you're not going to find the root cause. If you just look around with a hand shovel, or if you're just raking the dirt instead of digging deep, you're not going to find a root. You're not going to get to it. You might find some stuff. Oh, well, there's this kind of stuff in the soil. There's a lot of rocks in this soil, huh? Yeah, but we got to find a root for this tree. Yeah, but I mean, we just got the rake. I'm comfortable with the rake. I like the rake. I don't want to be lambasted in social media for shoveling. I like raking. Raking is good for me. And so you rake the dirt and this, that, and the other thing, and that's the problem. No. Let's shovel and find out if there's anything. And if there's not, well, then that should bear out too, shouldn't it? Why would liberals who don't think race is an issue be against talking about race? Because if you are correct and it's not an issue, well, then that should be borne out in the numbers, in the statistics, in the studies, should it not? In fact, if there are people that are like, well, it's a socio-economic issue, it's not a race issue, let's not talk about race. Race doesn't play into here. I say, well, wait a minute, why don't you want to talk about race? Why don't you want to talk about it? Because if you believe it's not an issue, then certainly that will be borne out very quickly, will it not? Well, humana. And I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it because there's a distinct chance in their mind that they have to say, yes, there is a problem with such and such a culture. Yeah, there is a problem. There is a problem with white fucking yokels flying the stars in bars. Yeah, there's a problem with that culture. Yeah. Maybe they're really scared to admit, yeah, there's a problem with black culture. And that's why there's 15 dead and 50 shot over a 3-day weekend in Chicago. Don't blame it on the guns, socioeconomics. No. Let's dig down and talk about everything. Because if you truly believe and you are convinced that race plays no part, that race is a red herring, well, then that should show up, right? Shouldn't we quickly find that out and say, oh, well, you were right. Race isn't an issue. That was dumb. Okay, cross that off the list. What's next? Okay, let's go let's talk about economics now. Let's talk about income. Does that lead to a life of crime and da-da-da-da-da? Okay, let's talk about broken homes. Let's talk about education level. Let's talk about all the things. But when you start immediately crossing off things and just taking them as given, you're missing stuff. And I bet it's because a lot of people don't want to be called racist. Because there's a lot of liberals, a lot of people who just, whenever something like this is brought up, if you dare say race, ethnicity, black, Hispanic, white, anything, they say, oh, racist. Oh, my God, it's racist. Because I bet you they're scared. I bet you they're really scared to have to say, yep, that's a problem with black culture. But we can't talk about it. Nobody can study it. We're all just going to blame it. Let's continue to blame it on the South Side of Chicago. Let's continue to pretend like the South Side of Chicago is something for which we can blame gun violence. Not culture, not broken homes, not a lack of education, not a lack of motivation, not a lack of whatever. Let's just blame it on the South Side of Chicago. That will surely cure all the ills and bring these dead people back to life. All right, let's bring it home. Woo! I had another great time putting on the Lefty Show. I hope you had a great time listening. I certainly enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. Thank you all for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. You can also find gaming content as well as the Vlogity Vlogs. YouTube.com/LeftyOX. You can also follow me on Twitter @Lefty643. Just go to @Lefty643. You want to get a hold of me, you want to talk about stuff or get a hold of my musings and stuff in between shows, just go to Twitter.com/Lefty643 @Lefty643. Thank you, everybody, for sharing the show with your friends and coworkers, which is easier to do now that we've got an RSS feed. Just go to leftyshow.podbean.com or search The Lefty Show on your favorite Android podcasting app or iTunes store. That's The Lefty Show or leftyshow.podbean.com. Thank you for donating. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions, where you go if you want to donate to the show. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
Hey, welcome to Con Air.